Welcome everyone to another episode of Comics to Movies and More. I am your host, Shaun Kennan, and tonight I have a very special guest. He is an actor from Spartacus. He is New Zealand acting royalty. He is an absolute beast, as well as a screenwriter, award winner. I cannot list it enough, but we have Barry Duffield joining us tonight as well. So, hey, mate, how are you going? Thank you very much for sharing your time with us tonight, mate.
Thanks, buddy. That was a hell of an intro.
I don't know. I always get nervous when I do the intros. I'm like, have I added everything? Should I put some more in there? But you've done you've led a very interesting life. You've done a bunch of different things from your early days as a bodybuilder into acting, writing, and even now being heavily involved in a documentary. Like, that's a very broad range of kind of skills. Have you always been like interested in film, with the collection behind you? I guess I know that answer, but
that's the Aussie films behind me, man. I've got films to the left of me, films to the right of me. I've got them everywhere. I think I'm what you would just call obsessed. When I was growing up, I collected everything. I remember I was about 6 or 7 years old. I can remember collecting those little clippings you used to get in the newspaper telling you what films were coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was totally obsessed.
I thought I was the only one that used to do that. I had like a scrapbook, and I used to cut out all of the because they used to do the cool little movie posters in the newspapers and everything. So I used to
exactly. I used to do the same thing.
Oh my God, that is absolutely hilarious. Now, we were talking off air before in regards to movie posters, and you said that you've got a ridiculous amount of movie posters as well.
I've got about 2,500 of them, ranging from 1939 up to around the 80s. So the 80s is my end zone. I don't get a lot of stuff that's much after that. I just like the artwork on the stuff that's pre-80s.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of my Star Wars ones, but Struzan is just like an amazing artist, and you kind of don't get that quality of movie posters now. Like, it seems to be a lot more of those like Photoshop type of posters. So it's interesting when you go back and have a look at some of the older posters. They've got such an intricate detail in it, and it kind of even like First Blood and that, I always loved that one as well. Do you have a favorite poster in your collection?
Oh, tough one, eh? I've got one called Killer Bees. And Killer Bees is like, I think it was a Z film. Didn't even hit the C grade films, but the poster for it's brilliant.
Wow. Okay. Killer Bees. I'm gonna have to Google that. Google that now. So, do you have them all up all over your house? Like, I'm guessing you can't put 2,500. That would be impossible. But do you have
See that couple... rack up there?
Yep. Oh, wow.
That's some of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got a couple hanging on the wall, but I don't have room in the house. I've got the Eastwoods hanging on the wall.
Yes.
I mean, if I was going to tell you if I have a favorite one, it would probably be an Eastwood one. It was for the Gauntlet, and it was Frank Frazetta painted it.
Beautiful.
Great poster, great artwork.
Yeah, I think that is there are a lot of artists that are coming out, and there's some really good Mandalorian art where they've kind of gone back to that old school, nice painted style of artwork type of thing. Because I'm myself personally, I'm not a huge fan of that photo mashup type of posters, but yeah,
neither am I.
Now, what is your favorite genre?
Tough question, eh?
I like to
write horror.
Horror?
Yeah, I like to write horror, but if I was genre, pretty much if a film's really well made, I'll watch it. I don't care what genre it is, but I do like horror, like really well made horror.
Yeah. Now,
really well made sci-fi as well.
Yeah. Now you've done several horror scripts. Have you? And you also worked on a documentary. Are there other different genres that you would like to play around with as well?
Well, I'm doing that now. So I wrote one called the Great Beer Boycott. It's a drama. So and it's I enjoy it. You know, like I said, it's not so much about genre; it's about character for me. And the Great Beer
Yes.
Boycott was my first foray into drama, but I like comedy as well.
Yeah.
Tandoori
Yeah.
Apocalypse was that crossover between horror and comedy.
Yeah, so you've also done comic books. So if people don't already know, Barry
With
has
you.
released an amazing graphic novel through us called Deadman's Land. You can get that both from our website and from Amazon as well. Now that has won quite a few screenplay awards because that's how initially you had written it, correct? Is that it was
Yeah.
as a screenplay and then got translated into a graphic novel. So how's that been like having that sort of recognition from a writing standpoint and not just from an acting standpoint?
Oh, it's validation, you know, and it's like that. It's I think it's if you've got a really bright light, but you have a bushel over it, no one's ever going to see it. Competitions are just a great way to get out there and have people actually know that you exist. You ever look at something like, a great analogy for me would be something like an American Idol. It's a great show, right? But if those people who are on that show, you would never see them. They would just disappear into obscurity. It gives them it's a venue to be able to shine. And that's what screenwriting competition's about. If you place in one or you win one, it lets you shine.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part with comics as well. Like there isn't enough of those type of competitions to kind of bring the next lot of creators up. Although Kickstarter is really kind of, I guess, that popularity type of thing in regards to being able to run a Kickstarter. If you're able to convince enough people to back your work, well, then, as you said, there's a bit of validation in that. So what are you working on at the moment? Are you still like going for roles in the acting scene, or are you concentrating more around your writing? What is your plans?
Well, mate, a little bug came along called COVID and pretty much shut down everything production wise. We had Amazon here doing Lord of the Rings. They went bye bye. We
What did
had
they really?
Oh yeah, they disappeared. All the MIQs, so the lockdowns, the MIQs, when people were coming in, they had to be quarantined for so long. It just made it ridiculous for them. So they had to disappear. And Cowboy Bebop disappeared. So probably for the same reasons, but I don't know. So our industry has just slowed down to almost a halt. But I was doing like voiceovers for Power Rangers. And then while we were in lockdown, I wrote a novel. I just had that edited.
So
I'm
now you're going to be a novelist as well. Wow.
Yeah. And I wrote the novel based on one of my screenplays as well. And it's really interesting feeding into what you were talking about with doing the graphic novel from a script. So Deadman's Land originally was a screenplay, and as you know, adapted it into a graphic novel. Adapting it into a graphic novel informed me on how I was going to write the next draft of the script, because you got to see it visually and you got to listen to everything. And it was like doing a table read on a grander scale. Being able to actually see what was happening with it, hear the voices, and then going back and going, well, that didn't work. So I went back and I rewrote Deadman's Land based on that. So when I was doing my latest project, which is The Nowhere Man, that's been picked up to shoot. So it's with Lady of the Light Productions. I wrote a novel based on that, and writing the novel influenced what I'm doing now is rewriting the script based on the novel. And then I'll go back and I'll rewrite the novel based on what I'm doing with the book. It's like this endless wheel. I'm like a hamster.
It is at some stage I've got to stop going back and redoing XCT issue 0, because it's the same thing. Because I guess, and you would be I guess agree with this, that you develop as well. So your writing style gets better, your understanding of character development and as you said, what works in the scripts and everything gets better. So it's hard not to go back and go, I'll tell you what, this would work better now. Let's go back and do this. 100%. So with Nowhere Man, is that a horror story? What's that one
no,
based about?
Nowhere Man is based on real events. It's set in 1974 in Darwin, when Tracy came through and wiped Darwin off the planet. And it's a story of racism. It's a half-caste Aboriginal lawyer who's in Darwin at the time. He's in the territory at the time, just outside of Darwin. And it's a story about racism, survival. It's a juxtaposition of the nature of violence and the violence of nature.
Nice. And is that going to be shot in Australia in Darwin, or will it be made to look like Darwin but shot in New Zealand? Or
no, it's set in my hometown, so it's set in a place called Nhulunbuy, Northern Territory. So it's where I grew up. Yep. It's based mostly on real events, but it's like Titanic. You've taken a couple of characters and put them within a real world. I was smiling when you were talking, because I got Simon Merrills, who is cast as my lead bad guy. Simon's never been up to the territory before, so every time I talk to him, I keep sending him videos of croc attacks. That guy is shitting himself so hard right now, he won't even take a shower in the territory.
Oh, yeah, there was actually another croc attack just the other week as well. I was like, I've been all over Australia, but the Northern Territory is actually the only place I haven't been myself. I've always been a little skeptical of going out, but there was that Top End Wedding, the Australian film.
Yeah, saw it,
and that really changed my whole perception of what I thought Darwin would look like.
Darwin's beautiful. It's just deadly.
I just don't know why I thought it was going to be just not as developed as any other kind of city in Australia, which is just, when you say that out loud, it sounds ridiculous. But that's why I think with different Australian films and New Zealand films as well and all that, if you're able to really showcase our locations and our culture by doing that, I think that puts you in good stead of being able to get kind of something made. So how did you go about kind of getting this project off the ground? Because, when I've kind of talked to people, it's not like, I come up with this idea, here's my script, and it gets made tomorrow. There is it's such a lengthy progress.
Australian films are notoriously difficult to get made as well. We've got as far as the world stage goes, we've got a really small pool of people who watch it. So unless you get something that's got international themes running through it, it's really tough to get them made. But I've got a really great producer called Lucinda Bruce, and Lucinda's in Victoria. She's picked up two of my projects. Helly Rising was the other one, but she just fell in love with them. So it's just been great to have someone who's on exactly the same page as you. And I've learned a truckload from her. Yeah. But, with the territory, if you're asking where we were shooting it, the territory's just got it's as far as Australia goes, it's got such a different flavor. All the states are different, but the territory, it's like Australia's just loaded with everything that could kill you or anything that could kill you, and in the territory, it's all up there.
Yeah, that's why whenever we've got the internationals that got a few people that watch this internationally, and they always I want to go to Australia, but I just feel like if I go to Australia, everything is going to try and kill me. And
it's pretty much true. As long as you're aware of that, you might stay alive.
Yeah, that's it. Of course. Yeah. As long as you keep your eyes out, you should be right. But we're like, you barely hear of shark attacks, you barely hear of croc attacks, blah blah blah. And then in the last 2 weeks, we've had a shark attack in the middle of Sydney, and we've had a croc attack in the middle of Darwin. I'm just like, oh, well, that's just blown my whole excuse of you don't have to worry about it in these areas type of thing.
Well, we've got a great director attached to Nowhere Man. His name's Justin, and Justin is an Indigenous director. And Justin says to us, he said, it's okay. He said, look, if we do anything in the water, so we're going to shoot anything in the territory in the water. He says, there's an old trick we've got. It's a tribal trick. We get these two rocks. And he says, you put your hands in the water, in the river, and he said, you just bang the rocks together. And the vibration sends a vibration through the water, and it goes through the jaw of the crocodile, and the crocodile swims away. I'm like, great. I go, you first.
Yes, 100%.
Now it's like David Gilpilil in what was it, in Crocodile Dundee, when he goes, oh, them fellas can see in the dark, and you go, oh shit, bugger.
Now, with your scripts, do you ever have yourself as a character in mind when you're like writing this, or is that something completely separate to your writing process?
Always, but it's really weird when I do that too. I never write myself in for a lead.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. That's maybe just massive amounts of self-doubt we all go through.
Yeah, well, we need to change that then, because we need to see you as a lead 100%. So now, when does this, or are you able to give details away on when this is going to start shooting and all that type of stuff?
I wish I could tell you.
Yes.
I really do. It's like you said, it's the process. It's the jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
It's with my producer. We're doing another draft of it now. So and that was based on the book. Once that draft is finished, and I got to tell you, it's not very often I'll look at something and I'll go, that's a finished project, especially over the last couple of years. I look back on stuff that I've written 10 years ago and I go, oh my God, that was shit. I don't know why I was trying to move that. It wasn't ready. Now it's a little bit, I've become a little bit less ego driven with my writing. And I'm able to listen to more people, and I'm able to look more objectively at the work that I'm doing. So, so that when this draft's done, I look at it and I go, well, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty damn good. After writing the book and then going back to rewrite the script, I just went, it's really good. So it goes back to her, and then it's off to distributors, and from there, it's however fast those pieces come together. It's how long's a piece of string.
100%. Now, will you release the book before the movie comes out, or is that something that you'll be like, okay, I'll tee that up around the same time with the movie and that?
Yeah, I'll probably release it before.
Yeah.
I mean, I try and build a fan base. It was the same initial idea with doing the graphic novels. When I wrote the scripts, I went, well, you know what? I may never get these made. You know, that's just the reality of it. But if I get them onto a graphic novel, then at least someone's going to get to see them, and in one shape or another, they've taken life.
Yes.
So the book would go out there, and hopefully we'll build up a fan base. And if we build up enough of a fan base, then maybe that'll get movement, or it'll get moving, and then the book will be there as well.
Yeah, 100%, because it is about and we talk about like the comic scene. It's about finding your audience, and if you're able to go to a distribution company or a production company and something and go, look, we've already got a fan base here. We've already got 5,000 people that are interested and everything. So, and that's just me putting a book out or something. If I'm able to convince 5,000 people to like this, then you've got a chance of being able to convince 500,000 people to like something.
Yeah.
Now, with you were saying before, you've been doing a lot of writing over COVID. Have you enjoyed doing that, or do you miss being in front of the camera and that? How do you kind of cross over between the two?
No, I love doing the writing. I do miss being in front of the camera as well, but I love the writing more. And I find it really easy. I think that even if I knew at some stage, someone said to me, you're never going to get anything made, this is your life, you're just going to be writing, I'd still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it that much.
Awesome. Now, I'm not too familiar with a lot of shows on New Zealand TV, but over here we've got Neighbours and Home and Away. But there is a long-standing series
Shortland Street.
Shortland Street. Now you've been on that.
17 different characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really, since 1997. The longest run for me was a year and a half playing a recurring character called Detective Inspector David Woods.
And then they've got you back, but you've played a different character.
Yeah, before D.I. Woods, so he was a long-term thing. Before him, I played different characters, but I think at one point when it got to playing him for that long, that they went, well, maybe we won't get away with bringing him back as another character. But yeah. There's that old Chinese proverb that says, if you sit long enough in one place, the whole world will pass you by.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Shortland Street.
That's true. Yeah, well, we talked about Neighbours and everyone kind of like has a little bit of chuckle sometimes about the quality of Neighbours and everything, but the reality behind it from a film creative standpoint is it has produced and would have produced a lot of people, not only in front of the camera, but all of those skills that come off the camera. And you touched on before saying, you know, Australia and New Zealand, we're very small markets. We don't have a lot of productions where people can just come out and go, okay, I'm going to be a screenwriter and I'm going to go screenwrite for this series. You know, how have you found it being in this type of market, being able to try and, you know, one, break into the acting side of things, but then, you know, now trying to get stuff made and all that type of stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what, I can tell you this. We've made a significant contribution to the international market with the people who've left and gone overseas. I think that maybe I should have done that, but I don't think it's made a huge difference to me. If anything, it's just made me see how small the market is, and knowing it's given me direction to say I know where I need to go to get out of here, or how I need to expand into that bigger market.
Yeah.
I'm still out there trying.
Yeah.
I've had some reasonably good successes, like we spoke about with the contests, but I still don't know how to levy that into something more solid. Yeah. My marketing skills suck.
Yes.
Luckily, I just love what I'm doing, though. So, you know, I mean, I do love what I'm doing. At some stage, I'd like to see that change, and maybe that's just a learning curve for me I haven't hit yet.
Yeah, I did a small business assembly with a company called the Entourage, and it's so interesting that with all like different business owners and everything, sometimes the floor of the business is the same floor that the owner has. So, you know, there was one lady there that had a super successful company, but it was all word of mouth. It was all, you know, she was able to do everything and provide a great quality of service and product, but she lacked marketing skills and didn't really know how to market her product. So she was stuck at that kind of level. She couldn't kind of get any further. So it's really interesting that, you know, if you're able to identify kind of where you're struggling with a bit, that you can either go out and learn those skills, or, you know, if you've got the money, go out and buy those skills by hiring someone and that type of stuff. But yeah. I'm going to pull up your amazing website, which is Dream Chaser Productions, and this actually has a list actually of all the different types of awards that you've won. So you've got the
well, I haven't won one yet. I've semi-finaled and quarter-finaled in them. But what I did do was when I went into this and I decided to start putting my work in a contest, I thought, go for the bigger contest. If you place in something really big, so top 10, it's way better than placing in the Wagga Wagga into the Wagga Wagga local screenwriting contest.
Yeah. And if people don't know, like these type of like the Los Angeles International Screenplay Awards, like that literally has thousands of entries. That's
exactly
not
the same
like,
with Final Draft.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, 100 or that. You're not going up against, you know, nobodies. These are very prestigious screenwriting awards where, as you said, like if you get in the top 10, like that is, you know, quite a achievement. You're going up against a lot of really talented people. So I see here these are all 2022. So when did you actually start like submitting these type of things?
Well, just keep scrolling up. I think it comes up. I think it was like early to mid 2000s I started.
Yeah. I was going to say Viking Wars. I've actually read that script. I really liked that.
Viking Wars was a great one to work on. A lot of research.
Yeah.
Very good producers attached to it.
I have to admit, before I was I jumped on with you, I was having something to eat and I was watching Vikings Valhalla. So I'm down to the last couple of episodes of Vikings Valhalla, and I absolutely love that type of thing. So
don't hate me for this, but I really loved Vikings, but I couldn't watch it anymore after Ragnar died. Broke my heart.
A lot of people had said that. I was speaking to someone else and they're like, I got up to season, I think it was 3. but or maybe 4, and they're like, as soon as Ragnar was out, they're like, okay, I'm out. I was like, for me, I loved Ivar the Boneless. And the actor that played him, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. So I watched the whole thing. But the thing that I'm impressed with Vikings Valhalla is it just jumped straight into it. There was like, Vikings took a little bit to kind of like, get going, and they did the time jumps and all that type of stuff. But Vikings Valhalla was just like bang, the opening sequence. It was just like action and all that type of stuff, which I really enjoyed. But some of these reviews, man, like these are pretty prestigious people that have reviewed some of your work.
Yeah, man, these guys don't write this stuff for cheap. It cost me a fortune.
You can't say that, mate.
Oh shit, are we still on?
Yes, we're live, mate. We're being recorded. So, but that's awesome. What do you have? What's your next script that you're going to be submitting into a contest, or do you just keep doing the ones that you've already currently got and just tweak them a little bit?
Well, for years I was writing on spec. The last 10 years I've been writing contract jobs as well. So I'm on about my 7th contract job now, so I get paid up front. Yeah. And I've just finished doing one called The Great Beer Boycott that was just phenomenal. I didn't know it existed, and it's like it's a local New Zealand story, but it would be, I would say it's a $15 million movie to get made, so it's going to be difficult to get made. But the amount of people who I've said, "Oh, have you heard this story?" and then I'd explain it to them, and they go, "Oh, never." It was massive. I mean, it was like it was set in 1947. So in 1947, all the local publicans decided that they were going to follow the rest of New Zealand, which 5 years previous to this had raised their beer from 6 pence to 7 pence. But on the West Coast, they hadn't done that. So around Greymouth, New Zealand, they kept the prices the same because it was a mining town, not a lot of money. So in 1947, they raised the prices, and the miners had always said to them, if you raise the prices, the unions had said, we'll go out. And they did. They boycotted all the pubs for 4.5 months, and it turned into a war. But at the same time that was happening, in New Zealand, they had what was called the 6 o'clock swill. So all the pubs shut at 6 o'clock. And most of the places around New Zealand, that was enforced. But in Greymouth, the miners were a little bit of a different story because they'd finished work at 6. And they'd be up in arms because they couldn't get a beer. And the publicans would let them come to the back door, just get a little secret knock, and they'd come in and they'd drink for hours and hours and hours. And most of the time, the cops left them alone. But occasionally, there'd be some inspector that'd come in and be really gung-ho. And he'd come in and he'd do a crackdown on the rules. And they started dynamiting the police station and the police officers' houses, blew them up.
No.
They went to war. Yeah, they actually went to war against them. And I'm like this. I said, how can you not have heard of this story before? It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that almost like is something that you just can't believe is actually.
But if you actually go and look it up online, and it is all true. So I developed a couple of characters to put into the middle of that, just like in Titanic, how we had Jack and Rose, and I built the story around a publican and his brother who's a unionist. So they go to war against each other.
Nice, very cool, very very cool.
Yeah, so, I wrote it for a couple of brothers called the Mickelson brothers, and really good guys. So and I'm praying like hell they get it made because it's such a phenomenal story. But when they pitched it to me, I just went, I want to be involved no matter what. I want to be involved. It was nice to get paid.
Well, that's the difference. The difference of it, isn't it? When you're writing for yourself, it's very hard to get that paycheck at the end of the day. But when you're writing for someone else, then it's nice to be paid. So,
you learn how to write to a deadline.
Yeah, I was going to say, what things have you learned doing that? Because it is very different. When you've got no deadline, you've got no set time frame and everything. How did you go? Like when people were going, hey, I need this by this time, and doing rewrites or edits and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I just set some disciplines for myself. Sit down in the chair at this time, and this is where you'll write to from here to here, even if you're just staring at the page. And I did that every single day, 6 hours every single day. I just sit down, and that was writing time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's almost like, you know, you were like, okay, this is the job, this is my start time, my finish time, and this is where I'm going to go to work type of thing and get it done.
Yeah, it's turning your vacation into your vocation.
Yeah. Now, did you do your own? Were you writing your own stuff as well? Doing this, or are you that one person that's like, you know, no, I have to focus on one project. I'll finish that and then go on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm definitely the latter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really bad. I'm like that scatterbrain. I was like, you know, that shiny toy of like, come up with an idea. I like this, and I'm like, oh no, I like this idea. And it's like, no, Shaun, come back, finish this, and get it done, type of thing. So,
well, that was the other thing I learned was don't stop, don't self-edit, don't go back on anything, just throw it on the page. But by the same token, I had to learn that once you've thrown it on the page, don't throw it out for someone else to read. I was notoriously guilty of that.
Yeah. Now, how did you go? Like when you submitted that, was there any feedback that, you know, because this is work that you've done, the kind of like, you know, dipped into the pride a little bit? You're like, oh, I thought that was really good. And they're like, yeah, cut that, you know, type of thing.
No, I learned not to fight all the battles.
Okay.
I only fight the ones that are worth fighting now.
Yeah.
And pretty much you can kill everything unless it's ridiculous. But I get very few ridiculous comments these days. Yeah. Most of the notes that come back are pretty solid. And you go, you know, I mean, they're there for a reason. So learn how to adapt and use notes. And the comps were great for that too, because when you're in competition, I'll go into competition and I will get professional notes that come back with it as well. And that's predominantly, that's why I go into them, is to be able to use those notes.
Yes. And then you can use that on not only that script, but any writing moving forward type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome.
And the other thing with too is if you're approaching a company, and if they're a significant size company, they're going to know we want to know if you've got coverage.
Okay.
So all those notes that come back from the competitions are all coverage.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. I didn't realize that either. So that's amazing. So like now we've talked about all your writing, and but you're also an awesome actor. I met you through the Spartacus TV series, but you've also been on Xena.
Xena, Hercules, Jack
Hercules.
You've
been on both.
Hercules.
You've done
did
both.
You did you catch that episode of Broken Wood Mysteries yet?
No, I haven't. I don't even know where we can get Broken Wood Mysteries here.
I think I know it was on in the States. It's on Acorn, and that was a really interesting show. It's 250,000 people are the fan base for it here. There are 16 million worldwide.
16 million.
It was huge overseas, absolutely huge.
Wow. Okay. No, I'm gonna have to go find that. I'm a bit notorious that since the streaming services have come out, a lot of that stuff, if it's on free to wear, like I've kind of missed. It's like that new I don't know if you've heard of it. La Brea has come out. That was shot in Melbourne, and it's like a sinkhole in the middle of LA, and they kind of get transported to back in time to a dinosaur era type of thing. So
La Brea tar pits.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So
I visited those.
Yeah, so it's got kind of cool twist on a story and everything like that. But I hadn't there was a big fanfare around it, and I was like, oh, I hadn't even heard of it because I'm not watching any free to wear.
I'm pretty much the same. I watch the streamers.
Yeah.
And I don't get a lot of time to do that anymore.
What are your favorite shows at the moment? What are you watching?
Ozark.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm hanging out for the other half of season 4 to come out.
Yes. Yeah. So I was talking to someone about The Good Girls, which is on Netflix, and they're like, oh, if you like that, but a little bit grittier and everything, make sure you see Ozark. And I'm like, okay, I haven't watched that. So that's the second time in a couple of days.
Great show.
So,
and Yellowstone is the other one.
Yellowstone.
Absolutely love Yellowstone.
Is that Paramount?
I don't know, but it's Kevin Costner stars in it.
Yellowstone. Yes. So no, I think that's on Netflix. And then no,
it's not on Netflix. We get it on over here. We get it on a thing called Yeah, I can't remember, but it's definitely not. But it's definitely not Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah. See,
We
this
get
is
on another service.
This is what's starting to get hard now as well. Is that there are so many streaming services. Like it's hard to keep track on what everything is on. I said Paramount because the prequel to Yellowstone 1883 is on Paramount, but I only knew about Paramount or looked at Paramount because Amazon Prime now have like this thing called channels where you can search like all the other platforms within Amazon Prime, which is good, but also bad when you're like, oh, I really want to watch that, but then it's like on a different channel which you have to pay for.
This is why I still collect DVDs and Blu-rays, because if I didn't, I'd be searching through every single streamer and I'd have to get them all to be able to watch my favorites.
Yeah, because over here we've got Stan. I'm not sure if that's available in
Yeah,
New
I've seen
Zealand.
some stuff on Stan.
Yeah, so and
I
that's
think
great.
I watched the Wolf Creek TV series on Stan. That was great.
Yeah. I like there's an American football one called American All Star, and that's kind of a really cool like coming of age drama type of series. So, but some of the Preacher was on Stan. That was
I want
really
to see that
good.
too.
So, yeah, that was really good because I hadn't actually read the comics, and that was a reason of why I went back and read the comics, because I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to know more of the story and universe and that type of stuff. So with all your writing, do you have plans on doing any more like graphic novels, or just are you going to stay just in the
I
novel
do.
field? So I was just gearing that up, So
yeah, just funnily enough, I have this project called Helly Rising that I would love to get adapted into a graphic novel, and I know a great guy to do it with.
Yeah, I do too. So, well, if people don't know, we did launch a Kickstarter a while ago for Helly Rising. It is a very cool concept. Like, I love the concepts. Like, it's a reality TV show filming, and it's a horror story. So it's something, they go to an island, they're filming a reality TV show, and shit gets bad. I just thought the whole concept was great, because those reality TV shows, like that is I feel getting a little bit old. But I've never seen something put that in the horror genre. And like when I first read your script on that, it always took me back to Scream, like how Scream like flipped like the script on horror and everything. And I thought this, it doesn't flip the script on horror, but flips the script on what reality TV is and everything. So I'm super excited to kind of delve back into that, if we can convince Alex to come back and
beautiful
do it.
work his, isn't it? He's an amazing artist. But you know what? We talked about this a while back. It was that premise for that came from a real story, a real event. It was based on me being on that survival show on that was called Treasure Island Extreme. So it was based on that, and based on them telling us not to go near this gravesite and not to dig it up. And it was the what if. But the script, the rewrite for the script, so it's been rewritten a few times. The latest version of it was a quarterfinalist in Screencraft. So it did really well.
Wow. That's cool. If people don't know what Screencraft is, it's like, again, another screenwriting platform that is very, very highly rated within the screenwriting field. So yeah, so that's amazing. So look out for that, guys. We're going to have more information around that coming soon. But before we wrap things up, mate, where can people find you, find your work? All that type of stuff. I'll put your link in for your Dream Chasers Productions website. But where else can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm ubiquitous. I'm everywhere. Always. What is it?
Are you on TikTok?
Ubiquitous. So that everywhere seemingly at once. Godlike. I
I
read that just before we got on.
So, with all of your stuff that you've got lined up, what are you most excited about that's coming up?
Waking up every day. Yeah, but honestly, you know what? I've honestly over the years learned to curb my excitement. I don't get that enthusiastic about things anymore. And it's not to say that I'm not ecstatic with what I do, but the realities of it is that you get all excited and you get let down, and then you get excited because something gets picked up and you get let down again. So I've just, rather than be like bipolar, I've just found this middle zone now. I still sometimes and I've got my great wife will just say, hey, just calm it down, calm it down a bit, because it may not come off. Just level that out.
Yeah, before I realized how much of that ebb and flows, especially if you're trying to get something made, I was like, I have this pitch session. This is going to be amazing, blah blah. And then I do the pitch session. I'm like, I feel great. And then you get the feedback. And you're like, okay, that's
yeah. They hated me. They hated me.
They're like, why would you think anyone would watch that piece of crap? And you're like, okay. Yeah. That's not. But one thing, I did a panel at Supernova recently, and I was just saying to them, one thing that you need to kind of build up is resilience. Any type of creative field, you need to have a bit of resilience, especially if you're going to work for other people as well, because you're not always going to get the response that you kind of are kind of wanting. Now, talking about conventions, are you heading to any this year or next year?
Last year was going to be Paris in the States, but this year I've got Missouri. So yeah, I'm not Missouri. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri for STL RebelCon in August.
Oh, that is awesome, because that's been delayed a couple of times, hasn't it? That one.
Yeah. Like everything's been on pause.
Yes, it has been.
Yeah, but, and I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been in the States like all of us. It's like when you talk about it, you think you use the I, but it's always the collective. It's the we. None of us have really been anywhere.
Yeah,
I've been on staycation, bro.
Yeah. I tell you what, the first 3 months I loved it, because I was like, catching up on all these movies I hadn't seen, rewatching, all these movies that I've got on, same as you, DVD, Blu-ray, and that. But then I think it hit about the 5 to 6 month mark, and I went, okay, I've had enough of this. I need to kind of go somewhere or do something. And
I know exactly 2 years.
Yeah. So, but I've got tickets to San Diego Comic-Con this year. But as I was mentioning to you off air before, my wife is due towards the end of July and August.
Yeah, that's awesome news.
After waiting for 2 years, it is very highly unlikely that I will be making it to San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'm a friend, so I'm quite prepared for you to send me those tickets, and I'll go for you.
I think we can work something out. We'll see if we can transfer them across.
I'll rep you. I'll walk around with your card stuck to my shirt.
Yeah, well, I think that works.
They'll be like, "Hey, Shaun, how are you? What the fuck are you talking about?" Oh yeah, him.
Oh, that's right. So, but thank you again, sir, so much for your time, mate. I appreciate you coming on and talking about everything that is going on in your world. Again, people, if you're watching, head out and get Deadman's Land. It is a phenomenal graphic novel. It has won heaps of screenwriting awards or finalist awards as well for that script, which is phenomenal. We will be giving you guys more information about projects that we've got coming up as well. But thank you again, mate, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, buddy. Always a pleasure.